Hey there again everybody, and this time welcome to the Grade 5-6 Delacombe Primary School 2020 Numero Championship Grand Final. It was another massive match. I can't believe after the Grade 3-4 final coming down to 4 points the difference. I didn't think it was possible, came even closer. This match was won by only a tiny fraction of 3 points, and so between two great players, Zion and Suki. So this is my match review, and we're going to go through the match again, look at the highlights, what are the big plays, what were the big moments that made this match what it was, and the big moves that got one of these two across the line by just 3 points. So let's take a look. So the game started with a 10 and a 6 in the centre. Now Suki had the first move and just does a straight match, taking the 10. Zion then follows by discarding a 2. Suki then here with the first build of the match. 13 and 2 is 15, so she must have a 15 in her hand. Zion now wanting to refresh his hands does a big discard, discarding a lot of his wild cards there, hoping to obviously get a better hand that he can work with. And there we go, Suki taking the cards there, and especially handy getting those 15s because of those extra points. Zion now with his first build of the match goes 9 and 3 to make a 12, and he's showing us a 12 there. But here, Suki then stops that in its tracks because she takes the 12, divides it by 4, and takes it with a 3. So Suki really effective at looking at those builds and then trying to see if she can steal them from her opponent. Zion then forced to discard some more cards. Suki discards a 9. Then after a bit of thinking, here we have our first fraction card. Now it's hard to see there, but it's 1/3 or 33.3%, and so 1/3 of 9 is 3. But Zion knows this, but he's not quite finished because he then puts an 11 on top, because 3 and 11 is 14, and there he has in his hand a 14. So really clever build there by Zion. But again here, Suki always looking to see how she can ruin her opponent's builds, grabs a divide by 2, divides 14 by 2, doing a take with a 7. So for the second time in a row, despite Zion's good efforts, doing some good moves, making some good builds, Suki has found a way to steal them. So this time Zion makes another build of 6 and 2 to equal 8. And Suki again here chucks the 1 on top of the 8 to has a 9. So a little bit of luck in there, but definitely frustrating for Zion at this point. So he decides to get some cards with a straight match of 12. And Suki takes the 9. Then Zion discards a 14 and Suki does a straight match, almost clearing the centre. And then Zion discards a 13 and Suki discards a 15. Here Zion comes in with a wild card take, so 13 take 5 is 8, and so finally gets his hands on a wild card there. So again Zion discarding a 1. Plenty out there to work with, and Suki makes a straight match 8 and 8. Now here Zion goes in for a really good and clever build. So the fraction card down there, it's a bit hard to see, it's 1/5. So 1/5 of 15 is 3, but then he puts a 10 on top of the 3, making a build of 13, and as you can see he's got the 13 in his hand there. So really good build, but again, look how Suki uses the cards that's down there, takes the 1 across, puts the 1 that was sitting over here on top of the 13 to make a 14, and then steals it for a massive take there. And so Zion, after the centre being cleared, his only option is to discard. But here we can see Suki's now decides to discard her entire hand. Obviously wanted some fresh cards to work with there. So, but definitely putting down some cards, giving Zion some options to work with. And so Zion makes a simple build there of 13. Suki can't do anything about it finally, so Zion finally can take one of his builds that he's built and take it all the way. But here, a great use of the fraction card. Suki plays 1/2 on top of 14, equaling 7, and taking that nice little take there. So it's really critical for these 5-6ers to make sure they're using fraction cards wherever they can. They don't want to leave it down to whoever is able to make the last take at the end of the match. So here Suki goes for 9, take 3 is 6. Another nice little take there. And Xeon finally getting some action. 4 times 3 is 12. And Suki discards a 5. Now Xeon, seeing an opportunity to use the fraction cards as well, goes, and I think this one is 3/5 of 5 is 3. So nice fraction card take there from Xeon. So now Suki obviously had another 5 in her hand, discards that, but here Xeon goes in for another good take using the fraction cards. This time he has 4/5 of 5 is 4. So great use of that fraction card there, and Suki forced to discard a 6. So this time Xeon discards his own 5. So we've had a lot of 5s in a row here, but Xeon definitely making the most of them. Suki can't do anything this round, discards a 15, and then look at this, for the 3rd time in a row, Xeon using the 5s. This time I think it is 2/5 of 5 equals 2. So using all the 5s cards, all pretty much in a row, and definitely starting to even up the match here with all those extra points from those wild cards. So Xeon finding himself into a bit of a good rhythm at the moment, and the master of the 5s, I would say. And then so he makes another build here of 7 and 6, which equals 13. So let's hope now at this point Suki doesn't find a way to take his builds, because that's how she's been in control of this match. She can't in this circumstance, so just takes an 11, and Xeon takes the build. Okay, now here you can see Suki has played a divide by 5 on top of the 15. So 15 divided by 5 equals 3. But she's not finished yet. This is the start of a great take. So then, once she's got 15 divided by 5 is 3, she multiplies that 3 by 4 by putting the times 4 on top, building it up to 12, and then takes straight away with the 12 in her hand. So a great take there, really well thought through. And so Xeon's forced to discard a 4, and then Suki straight away taking advantage of that 4 with 1/4. So 1/4 of 4 is 1, and then takes it with the 1, and you can see with the 1 card you get those couple of extra points. So when I told you at the start this game was the difference between 3 points, it's those kind of takes that make all the difference in the long run. So Xeon again discarding another 4, but Suki goes in for the kill again. 4 times 2 is 8. So she's really fine all throughout the match, denying Xeon on anything he's trying to work out straight away. So Xeon discards a 6. Now here, what you can notice is Suki on the last turn, when she picked up her new cards, she happened to draw another wild card. This has meant now that she's got 5 wild cards in her hand, meaning her only option is to discard all 5 and get an entire new hand. So this is a real pivoting point in this match, because she's gone from having those 55 points in her hand in control, and now having to discard them all. So giving Xeon a chance to make a really strong take. And so you can see here he's trying to work something out, and he gets really close, but unfortunately he just can't pull it off. So he has to settle for going 6 divided by 3 equals 2. Okay, so now we're down to that critical part of the game where there's no longer any cards to draw, and it's just a matter of who can do the last take to win some of the cards in the center. So Xeon currently is in control of the last take. Now Suki is forced to discard a 15. So these last moments, these last takes are critical. Xeon can't work anything out with the 15, so has to discard a 7, and here Suki comes in. 15 take 4 is 11, and takes that last take with 11. So now it's really important that Xeon can find something to do here, otherwise Suki wins the cards in the center. And then, but he's already seen it, the 7 and the take 2 is 5. So a lucky final take for Xeon. Now you might have noticed there he's only got a wild card left in his hand, so he's done his last take. So Suki discards the 4 here, and Xeon is forced to discard the 5. So now, for the first time, we've got a player with no cards in their hand. This means that Suki, it's currently her last turn. She's got one chance to somehow see if she can take with this, using this 4 and what else is left in her hand. If she can't do the last take now, that means that any points left in her hand will be subtracted from her total. Now you can see here that she's also got a wild card in her hand, which is 10 points for the wild card plus an extra point for the card itself. So she's really got sitting in her hand 12 points. And as the game continued, Suki realised no, she couldn't do anything, she couldn't take that last take, which means that was the end of the game, and Xeon winning the cards in the centre, and Suki getting 12 points there, subtracted from her winning total. As you can see, a fantastic match between Xeon and Suki there, with Xeon finishing on 154 points, and Suki just creeping through on 157 points. So she just managed to hold on to her lead, even though Xeon won some of the cards in the centre right at the end of the match there. So, looking back over that match, thinking about what made the difference, I think Suki, always looking at her opponent's builds and seeing how she could utilise the other cards that were there to steal those builds, was really, I think, the game changer and the thing that got her across the line. So congratulations to both of them though for making it into the final. It was a long, tough road to get there, but they both did a terrific job and a fantastic game. So that's all for my match review. Until next time. Thanks everybody.